what is feminism fighting for? Because all I see is more abortion, I see more confusion, I see the breakdown of the nuclear family, I see women on anti-anxiety and anti-depression, and then the last thing I'll say on top of that, every negative stat, almost globally across the board, is much worse for men than women. Suicide, rape, violence, criminal offense.
Also, how like social, like the social
Against men, social.
No.
So if you Google right now what feminism is it basically states that people want women to have the same legal right as men.
Okay, let me look that up.
Yeah, go for it. I want to look it up too. They want to have the, actually I can't because I'm not from Canada, but I want you to read it out for me. What is feminism? The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. There we go. So equality. We could say that practically, legally, scientific, whatever you want equality. My stance on that is, again, first and second wave feminism we could argue were justified. That was giving women the right to vote and the right to work, which are already it's convoluted because, believe it or not, and you can Google this, the majority of women in the first wave feminism actually did not want to vote. And the reason they didn't want to vote is because, do you know, yes, but do you want to know why? The reason they didn't want to vote is because they now had to do what? What do you think it was? This was a while ago.
What?
If women were to vote, legality-wise, they would have to be drafted. And the majority of women did not want to do this. So the majority of women actually didn't want to vote. Later, what happened is men said, you know what, I actually want you guys to vote, and you don't have to go to the draft. So that's number one. Because a lot of women think, like, but we never had the right to vote. Women...
Why would they have to be drafted?
Well, because that was the law at the time. Like, if you're going to have the vote, you now have responsibility. Go do it. Like, it's not just some free handout.
Okay. That was a law at the time.
It was a law.
And those laws were also made by men
Yeah.
at the time.
But who gave women the right to vote? Was it men or women? Because the majority of women didn't want to vote. It was actually men who said, you know what, I want you guys to vote, and you don't have to go to the draft.
Why didn't want to vote? If someone, I wouldn't want to go get food. If someone said, oh, if you step outside, you're going to get.
That's what I mean. So you're on the same page. And then, anyways, though, let's just bring it to third and fourth wave feminism, okay? Third and fourth wave feminism, I don't believe, based on that definition, that there is any inequality systemically or legally. I know it's for a fact that a woman has that a man does not. So, like, what laws against you, systemic, that's what it means to be systemic, that maybe is against you, but not me as a man in 2024. And then we'll speak of the anecdotes and other stats.
You said what laws are against me as a woman?
Yeah, so with feminism, they're fighting for, like, female empowerment. Okay, so it's to be equal. In what way, legality-wise, are you not equal to a man when it comes to rights? Whether that's to vote, whether that's to go get a job. And you can push back as hard as you... I'm not going to be offended.
No.
You got a good little crowd now.
Oh, my goodness.
No, you're doing well. She's doing great. That was good.
I'm not really a politics person, so I can't really speak on the legality of this. I feel like it's more social views. Like,
yeah, okay, so we can get it.
It's a lot of more social.
Because legality-wise, there's none. So already that kind of gets. If you have one, we can bring up the wage gap. That's been debunked. I can tell you why that.
I don't think I trust your facts on this.
Okay, I can tell you why the reason wage gap's not true is because what they did is the consensus. They basically took like a group of men and a group of women, and they basically said, look, the men are making more, but the reason for it is because men choose different jobs: STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
So women in STEM and men in STEM.
They're different. They're very different. So naturally, women choose jobs that are a little bit more nurturing, where men choose the jobs that are a little bit more rigorous. I'll give you an example, right? Under marine welding, I don't see too many women doing that, or maybe like cleaning the sewers, right? So these are jobs generally that pay a little bit more, which is why the stat's the way it is. Now, the stat that you may be thinking of, because what we're taught is that women are paid 73 cents per the dollar. If that was the case, every employer would hire women.
Okay, wait, so you're saying like in these fields, like women in STEM and women in, or like...
I'm saying they choose different jobs, naturally. So men...
They choose different jobs naturally.
Which is what equates to the difference in pay.
But when they have the same jobs, it's no difference in pay? That's what you're saying?
If they have the same jobs, they're doing the same amount of work in the same role, no, there's no difference. Now, could the man, though, being more aggressive, could he work longer hours? Could he put a little bit more effort? That maybe would change... Or sure, vice versa for the woman, absolutely. And in fact, I would actually say it's the opposite because it's something called affirmative action, where a lot of places now, and I know this because I work labor, where they're hiring women who, I'm just being honest, standard-wise, they're not as good, but they will get written off and okay when I'm having to keep that standard because they need to make quotas.
I'll have
so
to
check
that one because...
You can go for it. That's what affirmative action is. Yeah.
Okay, if it is the same, then you're right. Legally, there is no difference.
Well, because if it wasn't, though, think of it from an employee standpoint. An employer. If I'm an employer and I run a multi-million-dollar business, if women are being paid less legally, why wouldn't I just hire all women? Do you know how much money I would save?
Prejudice go deep. If someone really has dislike towards women, they will not hire them, no matter.
And I would be against those individuals. Whereas men, we should not be against women. And then the next thing, let's talk about socialism.
Why is it?
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Because right now, if you Google, women have never been more depressed and on anti-anxiety medication in 2024 than ever before. So the idea, I promise you, yeah, by 2030, about 50% of women are going to be childless and single. Women today have never been this unhappy. And now you may think, oh, but my life's okay. I understand, but we have to look at it objectively. The exception doesn't quantify the rule, right? What is feminism fighting for? Because all I see is more abortion, I see more confusion, I see the breakdown of the nuclear family, I see women on anti-anxiety and anti-depression, and then the last thing I'll say on top of that, every negative stat almost globally across the board is much worse for men than women. Suicide, rape, violence, criminal offense.
Like I said, that also how social the
It's
social
against
law?
men, social.
No, like you said, okay, legally there's nothing against women, but in the workplace, it's more likely that a man will get hired for a position that a woman can do, and it's like
Sorry,
go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, could it be, maybe not in all cases, but could it be because he's more skilled in that? I'll just give you an example.
Sometimes it
Just in
can,
my
yeah.
case, I work labor, right? If I'm a 6 foot or 5'11", she says, 210-pound guy, and there's a woman who's maybe 5'2", let's just say as an example, 130 pounds. Will I maybe have an incentive to get hired more because I have?
Yeah, if you're working
The
labor,
demands.
that makes sense.
Or with other jobs,
if
like
some
science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
in mathematics, if it's based on IQ, then
yeah.
that can be
be
between both
different.
jobs.
Sure.
But it's this man is more likely to get hired than this female, than this woman would.
Yeah.
But if it's jobs where it's based on physical labor,
Sure.
okay, it's reasonable that a man would be stronger to do that. Just like if a job was you need to be smaller to do this,
Right.
than a smaller woman.
There are also jobs too where it's not just physical, where again it's based on just it's things that we naturally enjoy. Like men, statistically, they did these studies in Scandinavian countries where they basically observed many thousands of individuals, and they watched what are the women going to choose as jobs and what are the men going to choose. The majority of men chose STEM jobs. That's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, where women naturally chose more nurturing jobs. It could be nurse, practitioner, it could be receptionist, things like this. That greatly affects the.
But because they chose that, could it also be because
They don't-
that's what
They're
they've
good at
been that's what they've been pushed to do?
But that was the
there's-
study, though. There was no bias. That's the whole point of the study. It was a control group. You can search.
Well,
Yeah.
and in that specific group, yes. But in life, it's I'm me personally
Yeah.
there.
What do you want to do in your own group?
I want to be a trauma surgeon, but
Oh,
even
that's
if,
kind of cool. Hey, you gonna be a trauma surgeon? I got you on the right
oh my
path.
goodness.
Yeah, go ahead.
But even in construction, I would be kind of scared to go into
Right.
that because that is a male-dominated field. So me going in there, I ignore what everybody else says.
Right.
It's it's just gonna be me, a female, in
Yeah.
a group of guys.
Yeah.
So that is just that situation alone is scary. So
Yeah.
it's why would I be pushed towards construction?
Yeah.
Or it's are these people are that's a male job, that's
Right.
a guy job. Don't do that.
Right.
You're gonna seem manly. You're gonna be
Right.
that alone,
There's a
those
bias.
thoughts in my head already. Yeah, it's a personal.
But do you
bias.
believe those biases come from somewhere? I would believe that those biases come down because it's true. Usually speaking, with oil rig jobs, with underwater welding, women don't wake up and dream and say, I want to be an underwater welder and live on a boat for 6 months out of the year. I would say that's a biological, has nothing to do with bias, it's a biological imperative.
I think some women, if they want to go and do that, if
They can,
see,
yeah.
if they see their father doing it, they're oh, I want to do that. Then it's okay, let me go do that. But if people around her are telling her,
Right.
don't do that, that's
Yeah.
not a job for you.
Yeah.
Then it's of course it's gonna push her to or if she sees someone all women
Right.
doing a different job, then she's gonna think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
So that will that right there
That can influence.
influence someone.
Yeah, I don't discredit that at all.
Yeah.
But I would still say that doesn't impact whether or not she gets paid the X amount. Even if you are biased and you want to go into whatever, if you choose that job, you're going to get what the job requires. If the job's going to make less than the underwater welder who's going to make more money because maybe it's more dangerous and you chose the woman job, you can't then complain. I know you're not doing this, but you then can't say, but why am I getting paid less?
Yeah.
Whether it's
I
biased or
think-
not,
I
you didn't
think
choose it.
The problem more so is that women in the same job, in the same position, are
You'd have to
getting
show me
paid
that.
less.
That's where you'd have to show
yeah,
me
let
because
me-
I haven't found that, and I've only found the opposite. That's what affirmative action is, where they actually take women and say, you know what, because this is my case, and it's in other jobs, you're not doing as well, right? You're getting a 70% instead of 100%. We're going to let it slide, though, because we need to hit quotas.
Even on that, though, you're saying, well, they have different jobs.
Yeah.
It's are they hiring women, though?
Yeah.
okay, men choose higher paying jobs. Of course, I feel like any logical person would want to choose the higher paying job.
But it comes with
So-
sacrifices, is what I'm saying, which some people don't want to do. Like, would you, as a woman, want to go strap up the boots and go on an oil rig for 6 months? I don't even really want to
How
do
much
that.
do they get paid?
But what I'm saying is, out of the both of us, I would just say biologically, because I'm bigger, I'm stronger. It has nothing to do with value. I would be more inclined
You
to.
might be more qualified.
Yeah, well, that's the whole argument I'm making.
Yeah, you
I
might.
believe it comes down to the pay comes down to your qualification.
Yeah.
Because there are some women doctors, like who are neurosurgeons or whatever, who get paid astronomically high, but that's because you had a skill that deserved
'Cause they were
that.
qualified.
They were
Yeah,
qualified.
yeah.
So I just believe the skew with the stats is not because of who's qualified. It's a bias. It's different paying jobs, which are harder, take different.
I think you also have to question, or like think, do women have the opportunity to take those higher paying jobs? Like, is that opportunity given to women?
I would say in America it is. In almost all cases, I would say in 2024, yes.
I feel like
Maybe in
I feel like
1900s,
if
no.
you have the ambition, then yeah, like
You
most
seem
women
ambitious.
Will take it.
You said you want to be a trauma thing. Would you? Let's be honest.
But
Is
that
there anything? Is there anything holding you back from that? Because for me, it seems like you're educated, you're smart, you're going to a good university. I don't see anything
It is
systemic.
also like being a doctor, surgeon. That is a male-dominated field. Like there is not a lot of females in healthcare. But like
You
you're
could
saying a
break that, though.
nurse.
But you could break that.
Yeah,
And
you
and I would say if you're as good, you will get paid
But
just as
if
much.
I wanted to go internship,
Yeah.
if I wanted to go internship, who would they pick me? Or
I would say if you have the skills and the knowledge, absolutely, blow them away. Don't think so much as far as like, oh, because and again though, right? I'm not blaming you, but that's also like you could be, but again, like we have to be careful systemically when we say this stuff because that's really what I'm after. Could there be bias? There are some people who are racist. There are some people who are misogynist. There are some people who don't like men. I'm not denying that. But we really do have to look at things objectively within system. If that's the case, I would rebuke that boss. I'd say, hey, listen, dude, what's wrong with you? Like smack him, in a nice way. Don't be like that. I'm just.
But I don't understand still.
Oh, so
how feminists-
yeah. Let me bring it full circle because I believe personally.
Are you equating equality to equity?